Chapter 1. Using our mind, we can heal ourselves and change the way we see our environment. Our existence is a combination of the brain's power and the energy that comes from our mind. Our reality is majorly shaped by what we think, and society shapes our thoughts and the positions we find ourselves in. To control our environment, we must first understand the power of the mind. The mind can reinforce or change our view about life and how we react to everything around us. It is the tool with which we control our emotions, beliefs, ideologies, etc. When we lose our minds, we lose touch with existence. We can heal ourselves and give ourselves a new perspective, as you will find in this summary. Dr. Joe Dispenza's exclusive experience with several patients using personal encounters and history has shown that we can cure the seemingly incurable with the necessary mindset. He explores the power of the mind, the danger of getting lost in our thoughts, and how we can develop the right attitude and approach to life. For everyone willing to explore the energy of the mind and the power of thoughts, this is the right piece. Chapter 2. We often underestimate the power of the mind and its ability to influence our lives and control our bodies. Most times we are ignorant of the level at which we can be made or broken through our thoughts and beliefs because we hardly pay attention to the power our thoughts possess. When Sam Lond was diagnosed with metastatic esophageal cancer, the doctor gave him the bad news that the cancer was incurable and that there was nothing to do about it. His life automatically took a turn for the worse as he battled his sickness, coupled with the fact that he had just started recovering from his first wife's death. More scan results showed that he had extensive cancer throughout his liver's entire left lobe, and it was at this point the doctor told him he had months to live. Sam moved 300 miles away to stay with his new wife and her family, and it was there that he met another doctor who placed him on special medication. As Sam slowly broke out of his depression, he pleaded with the doctor to help him live long enough to experience Christmas with his new family. The doctor agreed to try his best, and with the help of Sam's wife, worked Sam back to an improved, healthy state for Christmas. However, a week after Christmas, Sam became very ill again, and before much could be done, he died. When an autopsy was carried out, it was then surprisingly discovered that although Sam had cancer, it wasn't as big as imagined and too small to harm him or kill him. His results at the first clinic had been a mistake, and there was nothing wrong with Sam. But then what could have killed him? Sam died because everyone around him believed he was dying and expected him to die at some point, including Sam himself. He believed so much in his imminent death that his mind was tricked into believing he indeed had a terminal disease. Sam's case represents a lot of us and the way we control our lives with our thoughts. Negative feedback can influence our lives in ways we can't imagine, and that's why we must pay attention to our thoughts. Our thoughts are capable of restructuring or destroying our lives regardless of our physical strength. We must look forward to positivity always. Chapter 3. What we think makes up the majority of what we experience. Our thoughts are influenced by our beliefs, ideas, religions, and groups. During World War II, the medics available for the wounded soldiers quickly ran out of anesthesia, especially morphine, making it difficult to operate on wounded soldiers. However, when a nurse serving under American surgeon Henry Beecher injected one of the patients with salt water in place of morphine, it opened the medical world to a whole new world of possibilities, the use of placebos. Not knowing that it was salt water, the patient calmed down all through the surgical procedure as if he had been given morphine. Surprised, Beecher decided to employ the discovery on other patients and found out that they all reacted as if they had taken morphine. This discovery led to a new research into placebo use and how well the body works with the mind. Placebos are dummy drugs, substances, or procedures that do not contain any active supplement. These drugs are administered to patients under the guise that they are real drugs and that they'll work well. As a method of clinical trials, these dummy drugs have worked effectively, especially for psychological illnesses. However, to every good thing, there is an equally wrong side. While many medical practitioners and psychologists have studied the use of placebo to apply it for good, some people are exploring the negative sides. This negative side, known as nocebo or voodoo, is used to cause harm and, in a lot of cases, death. The effectiveness of placebo can be succinctly seen in religion. Most religions practice psychological healing that is termed as miracles. These miracles involve several methods meant to heal or cure people of different kinds of illnesses using invisible spiritual influences. However, these religious influences must be a result of the connection between the mind and the body. Our body is capable of being controlled by our mind even without our consent. When we pay attention to our thoughts, we gain more control over our bodies. The human body is capable of many things that are limited by the way we think. When we find a way to control our thoughts, we become more conscious of the fact that we're stronger and smarter. Aside from our physical strength, we have the mental strength capable of doing a lot of things we have no idea we could do. If we're able to create the required level of placebos to unveil this mental strength, we're on our way to becoming a better version of ourselves. Did you know, according to a 2010 study, 22 of 28, 79%, epileptic dogs that received placebo demonstrated a decrease in seizure frequency? Chapter 4. The importance of placebo on the brain cannot be overlooked, and its effectiveness could well open the door to a whole new world of possibilities. To fully grasp the way placebos work, we must understand the three core elements that make up its entire framework. These three core elements are conditioning, expectation, and meaning. Conditioning. This happens when we associate a memory with a psychological change because we've experienced it many times. An example of this is taking aspirin whenever we have headaches. We've associated aspirin with getting rid of headaches to the extent where our body is conditioned to feel better whenever we take aspirin. However, even if we take a placebo drug in the place of aspirin without prior knowledge, there's a high chance that we'll get rid of the headache because of conditioning. Expectation. This comes with the belief that a new substance given to us can do what we expect it to do. For example, when we suffer from pain and a doctor prescribes a new drug, assuring us that it will work fine, we accept the drug and use it expecting that we'll feel well when we use it. This works particularly well with religious miracles, where people go for healing with the expectation that they will be healed at the end of the day. Meaning. Attaching meaning to a procedure gives it the required amount of information to enforce a belief in the people receiving it. When a meaning is attached to an act, it becomes more important, making it easier for people to believe it works. These three elements define how placebos work and why they do. As humans, we are capable of being subconsciously absorbed in our minds to the extent where our body reacts in different ways. When a group of researchers from Harvard placed 8 men in their 70s and 80s in a monastery, they weren't sure of their experiment's success. The older men had been asked to pretend and imagine that they were 22 years younger. To make this possible, the researchers added a lot of cues like TV shows that happened 22 years ago and some other things to boost their memory. After 5 days, these men were brought out and several tests were carried out on them. To the researchers' surprise, the men had grown stronger, smarter, and fitter, and indeed behaved like they were 22 years younger. While they pretended to be younger, their brains had followed suit and changed their posture, grip, eyesight, and hearing to match those years. Chapter 5. You can create a platform on which your thoughts can change your body by focusing on your intentions. This means that if you can make your inner thoughts more real than what you experience in the outer environment, the brain might be tricked into believing the inner thoughts more than the experiences that shape your external environment. The process of doing this is known as mental rehearsal. Mental rehearsal is a technique that works when you close your eyes and repeatedly imagine acting. It involves mentally reviewing the future you want, all the while reminding yourself who you no longer wish to be and who you want to be instead. It is a way of creating a new life by creating the desired scenarios for your brain to absorb and believe. It's a process that involves thinking about your future, planning your choices, and focusing your mind on new experiences. There are stories of great athletes and professionals who imagine a possible outcome before even making a move. Several sports stars play with their mind first before replicating the play with their body. It's not enough to imagine a future. You have to actively make mental plans in your head that would be strong enough for your mind to believe it. The study of the process of doing this is what has been medically termed to be neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity, also known as brain plasticity or neural plasticity, is the brain's ability to undergo biological changes ranging from the cellular level to large-scale changes involving cortical remapping. Such changes often happen as a result of psychological experiences. With neuroplasty, it's possible to achieve physical and mental change without doing anything physical or psychologically tasking. The frontal lobe, which is part of our brain responsible for our thoughts and actions, is a significant determinant in our mental rehearsal success. When we imagine a new action, our frontal lobe snaps into action by helping us achieve a better idea of our imaginations and how best to feel them. For example, if we are hurt and in pain, and then we imagine that we are no longer in pain, the frontal lobe will reduce the pain we're feeling to the barest minimum because it wants to magnify our imagination and make us feel what it truly feels like not to be in pain. We can imagine a new world and create a new life. All we need to do is master our thoughts and improve our mental rehearsal. Chapter 6. Suggestibility makes us prone to being controlled by other people. As much as we would love to be able to use our minds to control our bodies, we must be wary of the negative aspects of it, especially when it comes to suggestibility. Suggestibility is the state of mind in which we are so immersed in our subconscious that we exchange it for the conscious. This is the state of hypnotism, where our minds are open to suggestions alone, either from us or from an external source. A 36-year-old man, Ivan Santiago, was subjected to research that involved hypnotizing him. His mind was put into a suggestive state by Tom Silver, a hypnotherapist, and was asked to shoot a stuntman with a gun. Without any prior history of gun violence or dangerous criminal offense, Ivan shot the man 3 times in the chest with a prop gun without even realizing it. All Silver had to do was hypnotize Ivan by putting him in a suggestive state before telling him that the stuntman was an evil guy and he had to be erased. Whenever we're in a suggestive state, we are prone to be controlled because our brain is so focused on the task given to us that we shut out our real sense of reasoning. Overcoming external hypnotism requires us to retain a little bit of our consciousness at all times. We've all been in a suggestive state. unconscious of the suggestibility going on around us. There are moments we are so fixated on a faraway object that we are oblivious to what's going on around us. At this point, we're so lost in our thoughts that we are automatically receptive to any command, whether it's meaningful to us or not. When we imagine a future scenario, we accept the suggestion of the result we expect it to bring. This suggestion then becomes so ingrained in our minds that it doesn't matter if it's true or not, we'll believe it. A group of students was told to walk into a restaurant and sit on a designated chair. They were told that a few minutes after sitting on the chair, it would become hot, and they'll have to pull off their clothes to feel some respite. Sure enough, these students went to these seats and, as predicted, the majority of them started pulling off their clothes. However, in the real sense, the chairs were not hot, and they had only felt the heat because their brain had suggested it. To better understand the positive sides of suggestibility, we must learn how to embrace our emotions and distinguish between the good and bad ones. Feelings like fear, anger, anxiety, etc. are not ideal for healing the body because they make you concentrate on the outer environment more. However, emotions like love, passion, joy, etc. are the ones you need to pay more attention to. Chapter 7. We are capable of healing ourselves as long as we understand our beliefs and eliminate any sign of doubt. Our attitude and personal beliefs go a long way in determining how well we can use our minds to correct a lot of things in our bodies. Some of the human performances that look extraordinary to us happen because the performer has the right attitude. Successful professional stuntmen are those who are never in doubt of their ability to do the extraordinary. Snake charmers strongly believe that the snakes won't bite them, while the Fijian firewalker is never scared of being burnt by the hot coal he's stepping on. With the right attitude, we can develop resistance to pain and train our bodies to get used to it. When we accept a situation for what it is, it becomes challenging to change it. The people who can perform seemingly extraordinary and impossible tasks are those who don't accept the situation they are not comfortable with. The difference between a world-class player and an average player is that the world-class player does not doubt his ability to be the best. Such a player becomes so used to being the best that it automatically comes to him to perform at the highest level. Our beliefs are the repeated attitudes that we have trained our brains to accept as the new normal. Religious people believe so much in their doctrines that it becomes a part of their daily lives. That is why it's difficult to heal anyone who doesn't believe he can be healed. Someone from a particular religion rarely heals or performs miracles on someone from another religion, and this is so because their beliefs differ. As humans, we're filled with potentials that are far greater than what we're experiencing. Our bodies are capable of doing things that would seem otherwise impossible, and that's why consistent practice moves us from the level of amateurs to professionals. As long as people believe in a particular ideology, it becomes easy to search for their subconscious energy through that ideology. Not many people are familiar with the idea behind placebo, but placebos are capable of turning our lives for good or bad. You might not necessarily doubt if you're not comfortable with the situation, but you must have a conviction that you can do better than what you're being told by people. Chapter 8. If we are not careful, we might get trapped in our subconscious, thereby affecting our conscious state of mind. Sometimes we see our problems as blessings in disguise because of the things we stand to gain from them. In the case of Laurie, she found solace in her illness even though it hurt her still. At the age of 19, Laurie was diagnosed with polyostotic fibrous dysplasia, a form of bone disease that causes an easy bone fracture. Laurie was expectedly devastated by the news, and what broke her was that it was an incurable ailment. For a large part of her life, she was confined to walking around with a cane, sulking into depression as each day went by. Laurie was born to a hostile family with a violent father, and she realized that because she was now fragile, she was treated with care and given more attention. She took advantage of this to get what she wanted, but she soon realized its futility because she didn't get any better. After her encounter with the author, however, she was ushered into a new world of possibilities. Laurie devoted herself to finding a new body for her mind by focusing on the positives of her life instead of the negatives. After several years of persistence and unwavering determination, Laurie was able to walk without her cane and do what she had always wanted to do. When she went back to check if she had gotten rid of the polyostotic fibrous dysplasia, the physician in charge told her it was still present. Laurie became heartbroken again, telling herself that she had failed after putting in so much work, but she was advised against that thought. A fellow student at the author's physiotherapy school encouraged her to focus on the fact that she could now walk without support, and that she had a great life to look forward to. We must avoid being defined by our placebos because when they don't give us the desired results, it can cause us to feel so broken and unfulfilled. Make no mistake about it. You're the placebo you need, and it doesn't matter whether there's an external force involved. You can change things within yourself. The change you so much desire doesn't have to come from drugs or substances. The determination to succeed alone is enough for you to start. Identify that part of your body that needs a change and work towards it by creating your placebo. Chapter 9. Meditation is the tool with which you can create your placebo. Meditation is a core aspect of physiotherapy, and it has been proven to work when it comes to improving cognitive performance. It is a conscious attempt to evoke our subconscious energy to influence our thoughts and behavior. Meditation is very beneficial to our health, but unfortunately, many people do not know how, when, or where to meditate. Meditation gives us the chance to escape from the present and look into our past or try to predict our future. There are 2 ideal moments in a day when you can meditate. The first one being in the morning immediately after you wake up, and the second right before you go to bed in the evening. These are the moments when your brain is still calm and without much load. Meditating during these times is good for you because your body is still rested and relaxed enough to focus. Where to meditate differs according to choice, but the ideal place to do so is in a quiet, calm, and neat place. Try to avoid meditating on your bed because your brain might confuse it for you trying to sleep. Find a serene environment and a comfortable chair and then meditate. If you love to use music, choose calm, solemn music to get in the mood quickly. It is advisable to dress in loose clothing so that you won't feel any discomfort. Relax your body, breathe in and out at regular intervals. Sit up straight and keep your spine erect. When you meditate, the first thing you'll want to do is create a clear head and a free mind. Let your mind be free of worries and let your feelings be free of fear. Allow your emotions to flow, but do not let them get the best of you. Open your mind and allow it to wander as far as it can go. Doing this opens you up to more possibilities. It gives you the chance to discover the missing piece you so desperately needed. To create a personal, lasting placebo, you must create a new mind for yourself. This new mind must be better than the old one in all ramifications. It must include everything you've always wanted because that's going to be the motivation you need to stay focused. If you want a new outcome, you will have to break the habit of being yourself and reinvent a new self. Joe Dispenza. Conclusion. Our experiences control our thoughts, and once we learn how to control our thoughts, we can learn how to manage the things that shape our lives. Psychology and physiotherapy have expanded the research on the relationship between our body and our mind. Through clinical trials and psychological research, it has been established that we can consciously or subconsciously control our body with our mind using placebos. Placebos are there to trigger a chain of reactions that processes the magical healing energy within us. We can heal ourselves of many things and control our bodies to do almost anything once we learn how to control our minds. The key to using placebos is in understanding the fact that it can be generated within us, and that, as good as they can also be used for evil things. As humans, we are capable of doing a lot of things that are well beyond our imagination, and the only way to explore beyond our horizon is to create the right placebo to lead us to our inner self. Try this. When you wake up in the morning, appreciate everything good in your life and do your best to stay happy. Do this before you go to bed also, and you'll witness your life turn around for good.